Hello, my wonderful people. As I used to say before now, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the time you're listening to this beautiful news from. I have another breaking news for you, which says Tinubu paying the price of Buhari Jonathan's bad leadership. Bolaji Akinyemi disclosed. Who is this Bolaji Akinyemi? Has he spoken well? Has he spoken well? I think this Bolaji is becoming too tribalistic. It's becoming too tribalistic. Tinubu is playing the price of Buhari that himself said he made president. And what has Tinubu done after taking over from the so-called Buhari? What has he done? What have we achieved since he became this president, since he took over from Buhari? Man, we need to come out and vomit what we think will make this so-called president something that will make them realize that they are at the wrong. What has Tinubu done? That taking over from the man insulted, the man installed as Buhari, installed Buhari then. Now that he's the president, insult came in. What has he brought into the country? Since then he was saying he became that he made Buhari president. Now that he installed Buhari as a president, then now he's not the president. What did he do? What has he done? What impact? He's even more worse than what Buhari did to the country. Very more worse, more hardship in the country. Even the so-called Buhari seems to have more empathy on Nigerians than this so-called Tinubu. Yes. Personally, I'm not surprised because the characters of Escobar has no empathy on their spirits. Yes. I have no empathy on their spirits. This particular tribal and their tribalism and also doubt standing and standard is something you cannot explain in this country. But I know that by the grace of Almighty God, everything will be set in place. Let's quickly go into the body of this news. I mean the content. Breaking: Tinubu pays the price of Buhari Jonathan bad leadership. Bolaji Akinyemi says the president attended the 2-day summit at the request of Indian Prime Minister Modi. The former minister Bolaji Akinyemi attributes Nigeria's exclusion from the G20 to past bad leadership, urging President Tinubu to improve the country's international image. Akinyemi suggested that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should work towards securing Nigerians' permanent membership in the G20 with the support of friendly nations like Brazil. Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, a former minister of external affairs, says that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu inherited a lot of problems from previous government's bad leadership. This was stated by Akinyemi during an interview with Arise TV about the president's present trip to New Delhi, India for the G20 summit. The president attended the 2-day summit at the request of the Indian Prime Minister muddy. On the sidelines of the summit, Tinubu met with leaders from the United States, Germany, and South Korea, and he also witnessed the African Union designation as a permanent member. In response, the former minister stated that if Nigeria is to become a permanent member of the prestigious G20, that it must work hard to improve its image in the international community. We must stop the marketing Nigeria irrespective of what the government does. If we as people have no faith in our country, in our own government, then it will backfire. Let me, however, deal now with what I have called the international experts as that summit and the implication for Nigeria as well. We are not member of the G20. Do you know why? The reason are many. One is the bad leadership that has driven our economy to the ground. Now that we know the cost of bad leadership, I hope we will give to our country a decent leadership that can promote Nigeria. We must stop Boko Haram and all the things that destabilize and give Nigerian a bad image, he said. Akinyemi also said that Tinubu is paying the price of the bad leadership that characterized Nigeria's past government and should work hard towards getting the country permanent membership of the G20 before the next summit, he said. Tinubu and Nigeria are paying the price for the bad leadership of the past. We tend to say that it started with Jonathan and Buhari, but forgive me, it started before that. I won't, however, go into that now. But the good news is that President Tinubu is starting at a time when he can maximize the goodwill of the international community. Number one, the new president of G20 is from Brazil, and Brazil is a friend of Nigeria. We have very good relationship with Brazil. That good relationship should be cultivated because the president of the G20 actually has a lot of influence on his fellow members in terms of what he would like to do or not to. Therefore, President Tinubu should set up a task force whose objective should be that by the next summit, Nigerians should actually be sponsored for permanent membership of G20. Viewers, you have said it all. What do you have to